Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast podcast for the week of October 16th, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we are back to a normal episode. It was sort of a half and half episode last week because, Chris, you were at New York Comic Con.
I was.
Which was
all
like
the comic action was.
It was like pure chaos with like people crapping on the floor and all kinds of other craziness happening.
The crap on the floor, though, still has been not confirmed. So that is the weird thing.
It's just a crazy rumor.
The crazy rumor that Bleeding Cool has apparently started. And I mean, I was there, and some people like either saw it or didn't, or it was like kind of that fever dream where everyone just sort of imagined that was poop. I don't know.
There's a Baby Ruth bar, like Caddyshack.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, you're back. We got tons to talk about this week, but we got to kick things off, unfortunately, with some sad news. We lost a couple of people in the world of entertainment. So first up, Suzanne Summers passed away at age 74. Or 76, actually.
Yeah. Sort of just like a timeless classic that you just never thought what would happen to her.
Well, yeah, best known for, I think, obviously two shows. So, obviously, in like the 70s, it was, that was a 70s show, like Three's Company.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think more for us, Chris, Step by Step. TJF staple.
Like, we knew she was hot then. We didn't know that she had a huge, presence before. Because I just knew her from Step by Step. I didn't know that there was more than that. Growing up, of course.
And then obviously also the Thigh Master was that apparently she made millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for the Thigh Master, and then also like kind of associate other like fitness books and self-help books, and then she was on Home Shopping Network selling stuff, and so yeah, apparently she and her husband had just tons of money from Thigh Master and fitness self-help stuff and all that stuff.
Smart. She was smart about it because she basically could act when she wanted to, not like when she needed to.
And Thigh Master was like such a simple thing, but then everyone just like blew up. That was like it's like one of the most like well-known and like most purchased like fitness products ever.
Yeah, it was a cultural phenomenon. I think at least you'll know one family that had one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my mom had one, so just like that's how I was familiar with it. And she had like the version 3 of the Thigh Master.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kept making that over and over again. It's just a giant spring. It's like a paperclip.
Yeah. And the other stuff she was also co-host of like the rebooted like late 90s Candid Camera. If you remember that show, the reboot of that of Candid Camera. And then appeared in other shows, like had guest appearances in, like Starsky and Hutch and Love Boat, and she had a super small role in like Bullet back in the day and Magnum Force.
She's in Magnum Force?
Oh, yeah, apparently, yeah, in some role in Magnum Force. I'm sure it was like was a major role. And then American Graffiti also that was like her first like big appearance ever. She was like the blonde in the Thunderbird that is like driving around and you see throughout the movie. But RIP to Suzanne Summers, and then also Burt Young passed away at age 83. Paulie.
Is it weird that I thought he passed way before?
Well, I feel like I was looking at IMDb and look his last like acting role was like 2021, so he must have like retired and then I'm not I don't think I don't think he really said like what he died of, but yeah, I think he's been kind of like retired since like 2021. But yeah, I mean, Polly and all in like 6 of the Rocky movies, since the beginning, and then I think most notably Rocky 4, he somehow reprogrammed that robot. That was like one of the biggest Polly moments.
Yeah, Burt Young, he just sort of got typecast in like the drunk uncle roles.
Yeah, or a lot of like kind of like I think he got into like sort of like kind of like gangster mobster guys too, like just like or like a like a Philly New York tough guy kind of thing. Like
Yeah, yeah. He didn't have a face for like main lead, but he definitely had like the background guy, or the guy who sort of knows the like mob guy involved in the story. You know what's crazy? I almost didn't recognize him in like Mickey Blue Eyes.
hmm
Did you ever see that movie?
think I've seen parts of it. I've seen like the trailer or something. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Best parts are just the Burt Young.
hmm I know he was the main bad guy in Excessive Force, the Thomas Ian Griffith classic. He was like the main like
Was
mobster guy that like
mobster guy. Yeah, because he could not go in a fist fight. He usually was like, if it was a gangster role, he was like the dom or someone head in charge. He
yeah,
was never like the
he s-
guy who has the
he sent guys out to like fight for him.
yeah.
And yes, I mean, Burt Reynolds, he also had just like tons of like TV credits and like guest spots and supporting roles in like other movies. Like he was on Tales from the Crypt and Columbo and Outer Limits, and like recently, like he was on Russian Doll, the Tasha Leone show on Netflix.
He was?
Yeah, for like an episode or two, like he appeared in that, on that show. Sopranos. We're talking about get mobster stuff. Yeah, he was in. He had a guest appearance in The Sopranos at one point.
Yeah, I'm looking at the credits that his later roles. He did a lot of like himself. Like he would just show up as
Mhm.
Burt Young in things.
I think Chinatown was. I think also was a big one. He was Curly in Chinatown, like kind of like a pretty significant supporting character in that movie, at least in like the
Hmm.
first half of it.
I'm looking up on his Wikipedia page. Apparently, he was in 3 episodes of Beretta as 3 different characters.
That was probably confusing,
Yeah, I mean, unless they like gave him wigs, but
especially if like I wonder if he like if he like died, if one of his characters died and then he just came back and it's just like, oh, it's is it? Did you somehow survive? Like, how are you back now? It's like, oh no, I'm Jimmy now.
pretty much. That's why I'm like, and that those shows, it's hard because it's the same thing with like Law and Order. Which let's see if he ever showed up in Law and Order. Yes, he was. He
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
Law and Order.
Ever like name any person ever in the world of entertainment they've been on Law and Order or Star Trek.
Yeah, yeah, he's been in Law and Order twice, 2 different
hmm
shows as 2 different, probably like victims or
Yeah,
perpetrators.
but yeah, R.I.P. to both of them. They're both like very like very instantly recognizable. Like everyone knows who Burt Young and Suzanne Summers were. So R.I.P. to both of them. So let's shift gears and talk about some trailers. And we actually got another. I think they're calling it the full trailer for Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, the upcoming Godzilla Apple TV Plus show, which is going to be coming out in a couple weeks here on November 17th, as when the first episode drops on Apple TV Plus. And take place in the the legendary Pictures MonsterVerse. So and multiple time periods within the MonsterVerse. It's gonna be like I think it's gonna be post kind of 2014 after Godzilla's battle with the Mutos in San Francisco, and then going back to like the 50s for like exploring like the early days of Monarch. And the biggest thing besides Godzilla is that we got Kurt Russell starring in it as Lee Shaw in like the kind of like present day stuff, and then we're getting when we cut like the 50s, it's Wyatt Russell is playing the younger version of that character. which is awesome. Kind of like father son duo playing the same character. Which I can't think of another like. Can you think of like another like father son team that like played the same character?
No,
I feel like that's kind of
no.
like unprecedented or like at least like very rare that you get like
Very
yeah.
rare that it's not common that in all the
Mhm.
movies we've seen. No, it's not even like maybe mother daughter.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I've seen like mother daughter play mother daughter. Like oh no, Susan Sarandon.
Mhm.
So Susan Sarandon character in That's My Boy.
Yeah, and then it was
That
I can't remember what's her daughter's name? I can't remember, but
not Susan, but it's another
yeah.
Sarandon. But that's
But yeah,
about it. That's all I knew.
but yeah, I mean, Kurt Russell in like a Godzilla thing is already awesome, and then John Goodman's coming back. It's in some capacity as his character from Kong Skull Island, and actually Anders Holm from Workaholics is playing the younger version of John Goodman. For like flashbacks
Wait, John Goodman?
of like the John Goodman
Oh,
character that he played. Like Anders Holm is playing like a younger version of him.
John Goodwin, not John Goodman.
Yeah, no, John Goodman. Like
Really?
yeah, like John Goodman looks like he filmed at least a couple new things that are like in like the Skull Island time frame, and then we're like jumping like even farther back from that, and it's gonna be Anders Holm.
What did it make? But did it seem like John Goodman knew what was on Skull Island, or was this like, oh shit, I'm here? Like that's what I got the effect from that, or am I misremembering that?
I think they had like some idea of like there's monsters here, so we'd like go investigate.
Because
But I'm not sure if they knew exactly what kind of monsters were there, but I think they had an idea like, oh, this is like a monster place that
gotcha.
Monarch needs
Because
to
I'm
go
like they
investigate.
they needed to bring way more men.
Hmm. But yeah, but we're gonna get like all. I think we're gonna get all kinds of new Monarch information and Monarch history on the show because obviously it's called Monarch. So we're gonna like kind of probably get more backstory, more other creatures they've investigated, and but also hopefully like playing like Godzilla, which like this new trailer kind of like my worry was that it was like because they keep showing like that it was like looked like some of like the like San Francisco stuff, and then that seemed like it was gonna be like the kind of the only Godzilla stuff maybe. But then there's a new sequence where like he's in the desert, he like emerges from like the sand dunes. That looks pretty awesome, and like it's like a couple other new Godzilla stuff. So like that gives me hope that like it's not just gonna be like a cameo, like a Godzilla cameo, or like reusing footage from Godzilla 2014. It's gonna be like actually like some new new Godzilla stuff. And like Kurt Russell's like we have to team up with Godzilla. It seems like
They're doing that already. I thought they might do that for the next movie, not the TV show.
there's like the end of the trailer is like Kurt Russell's like we're gonna need some help on this, and then it cuts to, like them like in the desert, and like Godzilla's like emerging from the desert. So I don't know if they figured out some way to like communicate with Godzilla or just like like yell at him that they need help or something. I don't know. Like, but it seems like they're gonna like need they're like trying to like get Godzilla to help them like whatever threat is happening, some new monster or something.
Because don't they need the little girl for Godzilla to kind of care about stuff?
That was King Kong.
Sorry.
Kong has a little girl that like is like his friend that like helps like tells him what to do or like sign language or
Okay, so
something.
then Godzilla just does what he wants.
Yeah, Godzilla. I mean, Godzilla. We learned in like Godzilla vs Kong like murdered everyone. Like because the opening Kong, like Godzilla vs Kong is like like he defeated like every other like Titan. But yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it'll be like a cool new entry in the MonsterVerse until we get was it Godzilla X Kong is gonna be the next one. Like it's like Godzilla X Kong New World Order or something.
Yeah. Did you see the Godzilla versus Justice League on the subject of Godzilla?
Like the comic.
Yep.
I knew there was a comic. I haven't read it or seen it. Did you read it, Chris?
Didn't read it yet, but
Okay.
apparently it is King Kong Godzilla Justice League. It's just they all fight.
Yeah, I think what is that next? I think it's next year, maybe. I mean, who knows with like all the delays and everything, but um,
If Justice League needs a hard reboot
yeah,
and they need to somehow tie it into something a little more successful,
yeah, Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire is the new movie. Um, which is right now it's April next year, but who that could get pushed back? Who knows? But yeah, I think that one's gonna be they fought each other, but now now they're teaming up. Godzilla and Kong are teaming up for some new uh battle against whatever the new threat is.
Mecha King Kong.
I mean, yeah, bring that back. That yeah, we had Mechagodzilla made an appearance. I think we need to get some sort of aliens in because aliens were always a big part of like the Godzilla universe. Like there was always some like, evil aliens like bringing monsters to fight us or try to take us over. But yeah, we'll see, and then yeah, so November 17th, Apple TV Plus. You can check that if you have that streaming service. And then we also got a trailer for Michael Mann's Ferrari, which is going to be probably like some sort of like awards contender. Also a biopic about Enzo Ferrari with Adam Driver playing Enzo Ferrari, and it's taking place. It takes place in 1957, where like Ferrari was kind of like on the brink of bankruptcy, and like also like Enzo Ferrari's like personal life was in like shambles. And then there is this like 1,000 mile race in Italy that like if Ferrari can win it, that would kind of like put them back on the map and like maybe save the company. So like that, so like that's like kind of the crux of this movie is like Enzo Ferrari's like trying to develop this new car that could win this super long grueling road race, but while also like dealing with like his like his marriage is like crumbling and other things are happening.
I don't know. Like, is it important that the owner has like terrible marriage, and then like does I'm not sure with history. I look it up. Did he win the race and it saved his marriage?
Well, I think he definitely. I don't know if he won. I'm assuming he won this specific race or like something happened because this Ferrari movie is kind of like a prequel to like Ford v Ferrari because that was like Ford v Ferrari was in 1963 when like Ferrari was like the like back on top as like the like dominant like racing company. So that's why Ford was like, oh, we got to beat Ferrari, and then we'll show everyone that we're the best now.
Yeah. Then I mean, it's hard to be the champion for so long. Like you're gonna have a downfall.
So yeah, so something happened between 1957 and 1963. Like Ferrari, did
Gets cocky
like
again.
came back on top, got back on top, and everything. So
Yeah, that's like the time frame is just the one time. I mean, not the one time, but the rise again, and then there's gonna be a point where he doesn't learn from that.
mhm.
You know what I mean? He's gonna be like, ah, never again should I lose, and just like beats his
I mean,
wife again or something.
I don't know how accurate Ford v Ferrari was, but he seemed like Enzo Ferrari seemed like a very like arrogant like character in that movie of just like, oh, these Americans can't beat me and my Italian race cars, my
I
pieces
also
of
think
art.
that is kind of what he was like. You know, I don't think that's a over exaggeration.
Yeah, like it's like Ferraris. They're not just like race cars. They're like works of art that you can like drive 100 miles an hour, and like each one is like expression of like his like soul or whatever. Like,
No, I'm not so much sure that he's like certifying at some degree where they're really gonna make it dramatic in the movie, where like makes you want to buy a Ferrari.
maybe.
Like, is
Um,
this a giant 2 hour long ad for a Ferrari?
I mean, I think the exciting thing too is like this is like Michael Mann's first movie in like 8 years since Black Cat.
Whoa. I
So
still hate Black Hat.
I think the only thing he's directed since Black Cat was I think it was the pilot of that Tokyo Vice show because he's also like the executive producer of that show.
I forgot about Tokyo Vice.
But yeah. So Michael. I think the big thing is probably Michael Mann. Back behind the camera for like a big movie. and also just like Am Driver, in another another movie about a famous Italian. We had Asaguchi. Now we got Enzo Ferrari.
Kylo Ren's sort of an Italian name.
And Ferrari's going to be out on Christmas Day this year. So if you want to either head out on Christmas or during the holidays, you can go check out the Ferrari biopic, gather the family.
It's like, you can't afford a real Ferrari, but you can watch Ferrari in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Merry Christmas from Ferrari.
And then we also got the trailer for Netflix's upcoming documentary Sly, which is the Sylvester Stallone documentary. So Arnold got his documentary series, 3-part documentary. Stallone's getting his documentary movie. So yeah, not a limited series. It's gonna be like one movie. But I mean, looks like a lot of like interviews with Sly, like very they just like hung out at his house and he just like talked to them for hours about everything in his life. And there's also interviews with like Arnold isn't there and like Quentin Tarantino's there, and it looks like a lot of like archival footage and behind the scenes stuff. Hopefully that we've never seen before. It seems like a lot of like I don't know if it's just the trailer, but it seems like there's gonna be a lot of focus on like pre-Rocky then post-Rocky. Like that's like the big pivot point is like, oh, before Rocky I was a loser who like didn't think I was gonna accomplish anything, and then Rocky came out and I became like a superstar. So
I also feel like they analyzed that era of writing Rocky, filming Rocky, producing Rocky. Like that's got its own series.
Movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's got its own, like, at least 3 specials about it.
Yeah.
Either TV or, like, a Film Society,
Mm-hmm. But that seems like it's going to be a big crux of this documentary movie is going to be, like what led up to Rocky and then what happened after Rocky. I hope there's some time for, to get into some other Stallone stuff. Like, let's get like, get like Stallone's thoughts about like Cobra or Demolition Man or any of the weirder stuff that he's done.
I want a deeper cut than that, because that's sort of been revealed from other things. Cobra, Demolition Man, Dread. Those are famous movies that
Stop him around the shoot. Like let's get like the actual like his like his
I
thoughts
want
like
that to
about
be-
him getting tricked by Arnold to like, make that movie. Like let's get his like actual like honest opinion of that.
It's on the record now again.
Yeah.
One more time. I hope they get to a certain degree where they get to the Expendables, where we at least get his understanding for the first 2.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of explains that he still has all these numbers and contacts and favors he called in.
I wonder if there's be like any sort of like. I mean, I feel like you have to kind of like. Well, I guess it depends on like when it cuts off, but like. I mean, Tulsa King is like a Paramount Plus thing, so I don't know if Netflix will be like, nope, you can't talk about Tulsa King.
That's why I'm like, I think they might stay in the realm of movies and things that are more familiar with fans than trying to specifically have him promote Tulsa King on Netflix.
Hey, come watch Tulsa King season 2. It's coming soon. Also, I got that reality show, Family Stone. The Family Stallone or something, whatever it's like his like Kardashian show is with his daughters.
I don't know. You remember better than me. But is that also on Netflix or is that on something else?
That's also Paramount. Sly is all in on Paramount Plus. Like he is all in on Paramount.
If that's the case, why isn't this not on Paramount Plus and not on Netflix?
Yeah, it is weird. I guess maybe they still have like maybe he still has like a little bit of rivalry with Arnold, where it's just like, well, if Arnold got a Netflix documentary, I want a Netflix documentary. Like,
yeah, but Arnold is also on Netflix with his own TV show.
Yeah,
it's a lot,
Yeah, like Arnold's all in on Netflix. Like, is like like promoting them as like the like what was he's like the head of action, quote unquote, and then like Fubar, and then they gave him like that the documentary series, and then Sly's all in on like Paramount Plus. So it's it is kind of weird, just like. I feel like Paramount would have been like, "Oh yeah, Sly, we'll give you like a 5-episode documentary series." but it's gonna be on Netflix November 3rd, so you can check that out when it comes out. I'm sure we'll be watching it as soon as it drops because along with Arnold, like Sly is like one of our patron saints, so definitely interested to get his thoughts on like a lot on his career and like a lot of like the stuff he's done. And then last trailer for the week is that we got the first trailer actually right out of New York Comic Con for Invincible season 2, which is finally coming. It's coming on November, I think also November 3rd. So big day for streaming. You can watch Sly and Invincible. And yeah, I think it's been like 2 years, I think, since season 1. Like it feels like it's been forever since season 1. Although we did get the Adam Eve special, which was good. Have you seen that, Chris, yet?
Not yet. I've been trying to save it, so I might see that soon. Just see it right for season 2.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, season 2 of Invincible, it looks like we're dealing with like the fallout of his finding out his dad is like a from a race of like horrific genocidal conquerors and getting his ass beaten by his dad, but then like him like leaving, and then um, it looks like a lot of like multiversal. Like we're diving into like the multiverse of Invincible this season. There's like a new villain who can like access the multiverse, and then I think there's a shot like the end of the trailer where it's like it seems like we're in some sort of other universe where like Mark is like basically became his dad and like took over the planet. So there's like this like dark alternate universe where like Invincible is like this like the on a big screen and all across the world just being like, hey, go against me, I'll kill you. Like I control the planet now.
Yeah, they do a lot of with the different universes and then the multiverse within itself
Mm.
because uh, Robert Kirkman had sort of an agreement with Marvel and stuff, so that Invincible can visit like certain Marvel characters in
I don't know.
other like
I don't know if we're gonna go that crazy yet.
no, they're not gonna do that. But at least in
No.
the story wise, they introduced like a multiverse and within itself its own, you know, big thing. Other comics don't have enough characters or lore where they can do a multiverse that isn't just them.
I feel like it would be super fun if they like if they did like some sort of like like if there's like the Amazon comic universe and like if like one of the alternate universes like the Boys universe or something, or some version like the Boys universe where like they're fighting Invincible instead of Homelander or something.
Yeah, that'd be funny if they were able to do that.
Because I mean they got like the Boys Diabolical. They have like animated versions of the Boys universe. So
But that's if they work really well with other people. Right now, Amazon. It's if Amazon wants any of the money, because if not, it's like a couple different publishing houses would be like
yeah,
greedy. Just off the bat,
it just
you
seems
know
like.
there'll be like right issues.
Mhm. I mean, just because like Amazon has like the rights to like both properties as like TV shows, but I don't think we're gonna like it's not gonna be anything else for like crazy like another comic book. It's just gonna be like alternate versions like the Invincible universe. It seems like.
No, I'm fine with that if they can get away with it. I just know comic book companies are finicky about their properties like that.
Mhm.
Who knows what's going behind the scenes?
But I mean, yeah, season 2 looks like it's gonna be fun. It looks like it's gonna keep up the Invincible stuff that we loved from the first season. So uh, definitely excited. It's finally almost here on Prime Video. I'm not sure if they're gonna do the same thing, but they're gonna drop like you know a bunch of episodes to start with. I'm sure they probably will drop at least like maybe like 2 or 3 maybe to start with, and then like go weekly after that. But yeah, we'll see. Beginning of next month. And moving on to some other news, some huge news. I think this was out of Comic Con or just like Comic Con adjacent, but some huge news for Disney Plus and for '90s kids, especially like us. There's going to be a live action reboot or some sort of remake of Gargoyles on Disney Plus with Gary Dauberman, who I believe he was like involved in like the original series. It's in some form. Or maybe not, or maybe he just worked with, because like James Wan is also executive producing this new Gargoyle show, and Gary Dauberman's gonna write, executive produce, and showrun it. But yeah, live action Gargoyles. I'd have to assume the Gargoyles are gonna be like CG, because that'd be like insane if it was like practical, like like
Rubber suit guys.
yeah, rubber suit Gargoyles.
I wouldn't mind that. It would
Not
just
yeah.
be. It would just have to be very well shot. Because
Hmm.
I mean, this is the same people that have made the Mandalorian and Star Wars, so it's not hard to imagine a gargoyle creature running around.
I feel like with just with like the wings and like all that, like that would just be too. I think it'd be too crazy. Like I feel like it's just like they're just gonna like make them make the gargoyle CG and then have everyone else be obviously real people.
Yeah, I can
I
see
also
that too.
I also feel like you have to have Keith David do go like
Just
if if you
cram
don't
him in that rubber gargoyle suit.
if you don't get any other anyone else like from the original voice cast back, it's gotta like Keith David has to be Goliath. That's it. Like no one else can be Goliath. I mean, you can throw like other people into like the other gargoyles, and it'd probably be fine. But if you don't have Keith David back, like just what are you doing?
I don't know. I'm a fan of just Michael J. White is like Goliath. He's
I mean, I
huge.
guess that
He
would
can do
work.
it.
Yeah.
He was Spawn. It's fine.
Do we get Jonathan Frakes back as Xanatos? Who's like the younger Jonathan Frakes, or like evil businessman,
Oh, the guy with the glasses.
like the guy who like bought the castle and like brought them back to New York, and then like eventually like
That was
had
Xanatos, wasn't
Xanatos.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't know that was going to happen. That was just like an unexpected bonus.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. That was the other weird thing about Gargoyles, that like I don't know if they can keep it up for this new version, but like Gargoyles is like it was like a crazy like Star Trek Next Generation like reunion or like thing, because like I think almost everyone from TNG like showed up in some form on Gargoyles. It's like in like a voice role or a guest role or something. I wonder if Jonathan Frakes was just like, hey guys, come on, it's awesome, Gargoyles. I'm like the main
Trying
villain
to
of the
get
show. Come over here.
trying to get in on this gargoyle money because it was like Disney Batman,
Hmm.
which I think at the same time Darkwing Duck came out around this, so it was a lot of Batman wannabes.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Gargoyles was like it was a direct response from Disney to like, Batman. They saw Batman like being like the biggest thing in the '90s, and they're like, we need like our own Batman the Animated Series, like a darker, serialized or slightly more serialized story. But yeah, I'm excited if it's hopefully. I mean, if it's we'll have to see like this is super early. We'll have to see like if we get like a trailer, like concept art or whatever they're doing with this. But like, I'm definitely excited. Like I'm all for like a Gargoyles Assance, which I feel like we're kind of like kind of like building up. Like it's been kind of building up for a little bit. There's a new comic that's been going on. The like limited run games is bringing back like the Genesis game is in like a kind of like remastered like collector's edition thing. So I feel like we're kind of like we're like building to like a Gargoyles Renaissance, and hopefully this is a better live action adaptation than like some of the other stuff that we've seen on like Netflix, like some of the Netflix anime stuff. I mean, One Piece has been everyone loves One Piece, but like some of the other stuff has been terrible, and then other like kind of live action adaptations of other animated stuff has been terrible. So Yeah, hopefully this is good. I mean, James Wan being involved is a pretty good sign because like usually James Wan is like involved with like some pretty great stuff. So maybe that also mean like it's gonna be like I mean the original series is dark, but like James Wan being involved, maybe it'll be like even like even darker or even like lean even more horror.
I see. Yeah, I like the idea of like putting it into hands that have been proven that it can work. You know, like
Mhm.
it's like they want the tone right. Get a guy who's done this before. So it's got good expectations so far.
Oh, and also so James Wan and Gary Doberman also did Swamp Thing for DC Universe slash the CW, which I think
Ooh,
which
no.
well I think the thing with Swamp Thing I think it was like people actually when people actually saw it they liked it, but it was just like whatever the crazy financial tax thing like they got canceled like before it even aired, and then they just had to air the whole thing. But I feel like there was like the general thing was like, oh, this is actually pretty good if they had actually let it like become a show and not be like immediately canceled and be a lame duck.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that that show it's like a cult hit movie or a TV show now, just because
Yeah.
the time that show picks up, it's over.
hmm Yeah, it was like what was it? It was like like they filmed it in like Louisiana, and Louisiana like pulled back like the taxes they were gonna give them or something, and they were like, "Oh, we can't afford to like do this. We literally can't afford to make the show anymore, so it's canceled." But we
Hmm.
filmed it all, so we're just gonna air it anyway, even though like it will never be resolved, and it's done
Ends in
before
a
we even.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on this Gargoyles news and see whatever pops up. We'll keep an eye on it. And then last bit of news is we got some good news over at Prime Video. Gen V got renewed for season 2, so we're getting another season of that show, which has been pretty great so far. Have you jumped in yet, Chris? The Gen V?
Not yet, not yet. I've been hoarding these shows just in case, and now it's like the time I have to watch it soon.
Yeah, I believe episode 6 is up. If you're hearing this when this podcast goes up, or like around the time it goes up, it's gonna wrap up. The first season's gonna wrap up on November 3rd, and yeah, apparently it's been doing uh very well as far as like whatever metrics Prime Video is using to like track metrics. It's been doing uh like they're very happy with it. So I think it's in. Oh yeah, it hasn't showed up on Nielsen rating like because Nielsen's like the Nielsen ratings for like streaming stuff is like a month delayed. But it's been like one of the most like watched things on Prime Video for like the last month or so here since it's been airing.
You've been keeping up with it?
Yeah, I've been keeping up. But yeah, it's been great so far. Definitely like same quality as the boys. Like just lots of crazy like crazy stuff happening, like over the top gore, like super dark humor. Like yeah, it's if you like the boys, I mean Jeff V is like same exact same tone, same everything. So and yeah, we'll get a second season in the near future here after the first season wraps up. And that's it for news week. So why don't you jump into show and tell? And Chris, you been watching anything over the last week or so here?
No, but I like to talk about Comic Con.
Okay, yeah. What was general Comic Con trip report?
So Comic Con was interesting this year, just because the writer strike and the actor strike really held back a lot of the celebrity things that they would have promoted and all the TV shows that would have been there.
Yeah, because it's weird because like there were people there, but they just could not talk about anything. Couldn't talk about anything, or they couldn't even talk about like past stuff. There's just like they
They
didn't
couldn't
talk
talk
about
about
like
anything,
yeah.
so it was really different, different vibe in this show. than what we've experienced and what I experienced over the years. It focused more on, of all things, like Japanese stuff.
It
The
definitely looked like there was,
first,
yeah, well, it definitely looked like there was like a ton of like anime like booths and companies and manga
oh yeah,
companies and
it was the first major like rows were either Korean companies, which they've been there now for a while, and then anime companies promoting either trading cards, shoes, books, their cartoons, or a video game.
mhm.
Uh, Bandai had like two booths or three. They had like a couple where it was promoting Dragon Ball. It was promoting like Sand something, this tank game, and then promoting Dragon Ball, the new movie or the new TV show that they want to release, which they made like a trailer announcement and played it at this special booth that was just playing random anime in. So they announced that there will be a new Dragon Ball show coming out. So I got to see parts of that. It was just like you waited a mob of people while they released this. I actually didn't like the front was just so chaotic to stand in. Like to get into that main hall, walk around was just like so exhausting. But I did get to play around some of the interactive booths, like the
Mhm.
South Park display. I'm not sure if you saw those photos of everyone else because I took a lot of photos, but I didn't post online because there was just no internet. There was just no internet in the main area, and I didn't
Mhm.
go out far enough to go get a signal because I was like, I'll post later. But so much like clusters of people, so that it would just you got no signal. You had to go like outside, and I didn't want to like trek outside because it rained a lot. So, so they had a South Park booth that was like fake props from the TV show.
Mhm.
So they had a like the COVID pandemic special stuff that they had. They had the episode. I didn't see this on HBO because I really primarily watch South Park through HBO. But the pandemic special and then the COVID thing where it's like the future of them.
Yeah, those are all like Paramount Plus. When they made this and deal with like Paramount Plus, that was like it was a certain amount of like exclusive specials for Paramount Plus. So, yeah, the COVID specials were those.
So
Um, that
the
one the one they just put out the trailer for like the Wokening or whatever is going to be a Paramount Plus exclusive.
so a lot of that like props for those were there, and I didn't know what they were because I have not seen that special yet.
Hmm.
So they had like fun things. I think it still doesn't beat the year they had the Memorberry booth where you sit down and you get sprayed by Stan's dad,
Okay.
Marsh, and he like
Mm.
sprays Memorberry juice on you. That was a more like fan interactive thing. This year is not so much. And then the Marvel booth was this year like further back than I ever remember it. It's like way more back in the row. Uh, and they had giveaways, and the only thing they had to promote was the Marvels,
Hmm.
like clothing. And that was it. Like, and then maybe like Loki's outfit and Ouroboros' like jumpsuit.
Yeah, because Loki's on right now. Marvel's is coming up. That's like those are like their only two big things that are happening.
And then Tom Hiddleston was there. He just took photos, but he didn't talk anything about Loki.
Hmm.
I think he might have appeared at the Marvel booth, but he's like, "Yeah, I'm in a show," and then he's like, "All right, bye," and then like you see him in the basement levels to get a signature.
Hmm.
And then what else? Oh, I met Jim Cummings.
Hmm.
I posted that because I had some signal before that went dark. Cool guy, soft spoken. He was more interested in kids approaching him than grown ups because like when kids approach, he'll do like voices and then give a big performance. And then I showed up right after he just gave one to this little girl. So it shifted. He looked at me. He was just like, I can see he was tired. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna say a few words and then do my thing. But I still think again, it's the voice of so many Disney characters.
Hmm.
So when I saw him, it was cool to hear him and do the voice and all the photos of himself of all the different roles he was in, and I was like, that's the Disney cartoon lineup. He was in at least one of these things. I think
Well, I
if
mean,
I ever meet him,
was
yeah,
it like wasn't he? Like, I mean, he's Darkwing Duck, right?
yeah,
And like yeah, like so like the main, like literally the main character of that show, and then like yeah, supporting character in like probably like every other show.
yep. And then yeah, he like I think we could spend like a half an hour talking about Jim Cumming roles and what we love.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'm like, all right. Like I had 5 minutes just to like do like it was just try to condense that. I spent a few rounds looking for comic book booths, but you want to see some madness? First day, I think they ran out of pamphlets to give out for the map. So when you were just looking for booths, they really pushed to look the app, but the app would crash on you. The app was
Oh
sponsored by
boy.
Tumblr this year, and so
Mm-hmm.
you open your phone, you can't connect to the internet, so I have to like go outside, connect the phone, go on it, and then like maybe 5 minutes, my phone would crash the app. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "This is the like what is happening?" So I didn't know where anything was. Like I had to like manually walk around and just get like a lay of the land to know like landmarks and booths. And what's sad is a lot of the major book companies were just either not there or shoved in some weird corner. Like IDW Publishing was downstairs in a whole different level. They were like the first thing you saw when you walked into Artist Alley. It made it seem like IDW owned Artist Alley. I could not find where Boom Studio was. They were just scattered. I guess they had artists from them, but they didn't have their own booth. Dark Horse, I don't know where the hell they were this year. They were pushed someplace where basically most of their booth merch was given out, like probably on the show, like on the entranceway, like those Dark Horse like yellow bags you might see. They're pretty famous. They were pretty good, and they were
Mm-hmm.
free. A few years ago, they were just given to you as you pass by. Now it's like a rarity. I couldn't really. I mean, a lot of people took them in the morning, and that was it. It was a very limited amount. And apparently there was a Scott Pilgrim, the Scott Pilgrim show that's coming up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
I think was it Scott Pilgrim powers up or some Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Takes Off. That's it. I keep forgetting the thing. I don't know why they can't call it Takes Off. It makes it seem like it's a sequel. But anyway, they showed up on like Saturday. Apparently, they were giving out tote bags. Like Netflix, like kind of stealthily showed up and just handed them out to people. But they gave out nice canvas bags that looked okay, but just like where like I'd be walking around, and this year a lot of freebies was just bags. So you stare at people and like, wait, where do you get this bag? Or what's that? Like uh, and then one of the weirdest freebies was take a photo with the fake look-alike mentors from the Hunger Games, the song of the Snowbird.
Oh yeah, the Ballad of Serpents and Songbirds and Snakes or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They had sort of look-alike, I guess, mentors from the movie. So it's like you're not that actor. You're just some dude, I think. Uh, it's like, oh, come take a photo with them. We'll get this poster. And eventually, some people didn't want to take a photo, so they're like, "Do you just want these posters?" And I was like, I took one. Janice took one, and then I took another. So I have like four of these posters that, from a distance, just don't. They look like propaganda. Like Russian propaganda posters. They don't look, at least as a Hunger Games passerby. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't mind the series. I don't mind the prequel series either. But yeah, they just tried the most minimum version of promoting for that. But again, they had like a horde of like 12 people. Like, oh, take a photo with the mentors. I'm like, who the hell are you? I have no idea who any of these people are.
Mm-hmm.
Then I waited in line. The longest line I waited was the last day. I waited in line for the Spider-Man 2 video game booth that was attached to the Marvel booth,
Hmm.
and it was an hour long to stand there and take a photo with a fake alleyway of Miles and Peter with Venom's head floating in the background from a distance. It makes it seem like he's coming out the shadows, but the lighting in that area was kind of weird. So it depending on how the booth photographer took your photo and how good your camera is, sometimes you can see the head, sometimes you can't, or sometimes it comes out too harsh and it looks like a balloon of Venom's face.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was like, oh boy, I didn't mind because at the end you got the Spider-Man 2 tote bag, and it's pretty good. It's like terrible for the environment because the whole thing is made out of plastic and hard plastic.
Hmm.
And uh, then you got to sign up for a QR code. So the QR code leads you to the clues of the first Spider-Man race that's going to happen in New York tomorrow, in or when this podcast comes out, like Friday the 20th.
Hmm.
There is a New York hunt where you could run around the city to like try to earn the game for free if you meet all the markers and stuff. It's like trying to get prizes. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was kind of cool. It was like, okay, now it's like the instructions. You have to take a photo, you get the bag, and then you scan a QR code to let you know if you happen to live in New York, you can play this AR game.
Yeah, yeah, catch all the pigeons. It was like the side quest, like the first game.
Yeah, Insomniac just released a bunch of wild pigeons with notes, and it's up
Yep.
to the fans to hunt them down.
Or just go like super old school, go like Spider-Man 2, like that game with like the kid with the balloon. My
No,
balloon, my
even
balloon.
worse, even worse. We dangled a whole bunch of construction workers from ledges, and it's up to you to figure out how to save them.
Yeah. Wasn't there like an MJ side mission where you'd like swing and like collect hearts or something in like one of those in like Spider-Man 2 or 3 games?
I feel like that's a thing.
Like
I
like you
just don't
like you
remember.
you're
My brain
you're
just won't
you're like
remember
you're like
that.
you were like swinging around with like MJ, and then like you were like it was like hearts, it's like a certain number of hearts or something.
I think you had to maintain a certain speed, and you had to. Then you couldn't do
Yeah.
flips because if you did,
Yeah.
she didn't like that or something.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
vaguely remember this, but it's such a dumb mechanic that like it's not featured in any of the Spider-Man games again.
Hmm.
I feel like that was Spider-Man 2, just because that game had to get bloated with more and more mini games. Then yeah, I'll try to write something, or I'll definitely have to like post more photos before
Hmm.
my next con this month. Uh, Probably tomorrow, probably the 20th. Just at some point, just start shotgunning tweets to different companies and people. Because again, this year, like it was weird because maybe because I barely recover from Retro Game Con, so when I hit New York Comic Con, I was already like burnt out, and then I kind of try to get the energy back. But there
Yeah.
were no free after parties. Everything was like, hang out with your friends, make plans. It was very basic. I liked it because I didn't feel like I had to go to a bunch of things. I didn't feel like I did. There's some Comic Cons I've gone to, I've been burnt out after, like completely after, just because it's one giant ad, or you feel very disingenuous about the city, about the Comic Con. It's like, hey, come visit like the city and then experience all this, and then you go there and you're like, Jesus Christ, I think it's expensive. It still is, but this time I got to hang out with friends I haven't hung out in a while, and then I got to experience different parts of New York that I normally would be like so focused on a Comic Con event because I bought a ticket or something.
Hmm.
So my tip from all this is like, if you go to Comic Con a lot, which I think going every other year is a lot, I go maybe every 2 years if I could. And it's like after a while, once you learn the rhythm, like you can go do other things, other people like that don't involve Comic Con. Like I hung out with the guys from Digital Pimp, and we went to a brewery that just opened up in the Hudson Yard. has nothing to do with Comic-Con. In fact, most of the crowds never went there, so it was really nice to just hang out and like enjoy New York from away from a con, even though it's like blocks away.
Mm-hmm.
I think New York still hasn't embraced Comic-Con as like a full thing, because I think that was the problem. San Diego, in that area, embraces San Diego Comic-Con. Like, a lot of businesses do cool things, even that have nothing to do officially. But for some
Yeah,
reason...
is it like the Gaslight District or something that's right next to the San Diego Convention Center? Is like it's like this like post Comic Con like hangout, like every restaurant bar in that area is like full on like Comic Con come here like
Comic-Con crazy. Yeah, but
yeah.
then you get New York, and it's like they barely give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. I mean, I get it. The city's huge. Like, as I'm leaving, I'm like, this, the city, oh, let's go back to the regular people. Like, they were over Comic Con by day 2. Let alone when I was there were protests, and that was interesting.
Yeah, it was other stuff
Other
besides Comic
world.
Con was happening.
Yeah, as much as I want to enjoy the, like, hey, I'm in the bubble, it's like, nope, that bubble only is just like Comic Con, and then maybe the short walk back to your car or your train. So, interesting times. But yeah,
I'll probably get there. I'll get back there someday. Maybe we'll have to apply it again. Try again for
we should
press
apply
passes
for
or
being a
something.
panelist. I think
Yeah.
that's our gimmick, is just be a panelist to it. Yeah, we'll definitely talk offline, because we have a year to plan.
Yeah.
I think on the first day of Comic Con, when they showed, it's like, here's the next date. It's like, whoa, let me go apply for shit now. But otherwise, what I watched was the first 2 episodes of Loki so far. They released the first episode and then the second episode.
Yep.
So I watched it back to back, or at least like one day then the next. You're up to episode 2, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll talk about that. Episode 1, I didn't mind. Like, it's very get back to basics. A lot of other characters doing most of this world building than Loki experiencing it, because I kind of rewatched the first episode, compared it to the first episode of season 2.
Well, because he's getting like ripped like to like the different time periods. So it's a lot like him just popping up and then leave, like blinking out, and everyone's just like, "Wait, was Loki just here? What?" Like,
and then the big thing for him was getting stabilized. I thought the running thing for him being pulled out of time would be like
the whole season,
whole season or half of it, but it's like solved very fast. So that was interesting. I thought that would be a longer thing. Ouroboros, why is he like, he's so important, but he's so like he's treated as if he's like a I don't know, a boiler repairman in that building. I don't, I was like kind of shocked how well his technology, the importance of his role is, and it's barely anyone talks to him.
Yeah, like no one ever goes to see him, or like, but he like built all the technology that's the TVA.
Mm-hmm. I did see what you mean about the whole Bill and Ted thing, where it's cause and effects. The like introduction to something has a payoff later.
Mm-hmm.
I
well,
understood that.
Like just the editing and stuff. It's like an immediate payoff of like he's talking to Loki like however many decades or hundreds of years in the past, and then he'll like mention something like I could build this, and then like you cut immediately to like Owen Wilson, and it's like, oh, here you go, here's that thing I built. Like this MacGuffin that like we needed, I built it.
Yeah. But the thing I didn't like about episode 2 is if I thought I missed something, where it immediately jumps into this other character who became a movie star, X5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought I missed something. I was like, wait, what happened to him? Like, why is this happening? Like, I don't remember how episode 1 ended. So, like, on a like, oh, okay, we got to prepare for the worst, and then it's just like this Hollywood premiere.
Yeah, well, they say like he might be like he was with Sylvie, or he knows where Sylvie was, or something. That's like the only like, or he's the only one that knows like where she might be, or something. For some reason.
But he was part of the group that was like arming themselves up, and the episode ends like that. And then Sylvie ends up in that McDonald's, and that's
Yeah,
why like I was like, did I miss something? Why is it just showing like this? And then I get in his timeline, in the sacred timeline, or maybe it was the sacred timeline, he ended up being that movie star. I don't know how that ties in to the future where Sylvie is working at McDonald's in the 80s.
yeah. It's also like most of the timelines got bombed out of existence again at the end of the episode. So there's and then, but I mean, looks like there's a couple left. So I don't know what like universes are still left. I would assume it's like the Sony ones. It's like It's like the Spider Verse and the Venom Verse are like the only two left now, or something.
And then maybe whatever timeline the original Defenders were in.
The Netflix universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the big thing. It's like, oh, we gotta like leave all these timelines. Like that's all people now. We like everyone like acknowledges that like they're like basically like doing like genocides against other like timelines, and then but then the one judge or whatever gets like all their troops, and they're like they basically blow up all the timelines again.
Well, it goes back to sort of normal. So I understood her philosophy where, in order to save the whole universe, we need to get rid of other ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of like status quo returning in the first episodes. Like they the first episode like we gotta get Loki back to normal, and then the second one was like we gotta like rein in the timelines that are like going out of control to kind of
Also,
like get everything back like to where it was like the first season of Loki.
yeah, yeah. But I couldn't figure out the pendant that Sylvie had. Where did she get that pendant from?
Like the stone thing or the
I
because
guess it's a stone or pendant.
I think she got that from like Kang at the end of season one. I have to like rewatch or like look at something again. But I'm pretty sure that was like like Kang had that on his desk or something, or that was something like she got from him or something. Maybe I can't remember what it does though. I think I mean obviously it's like it's got like magical properties or something, but or was that was that like her version of like the time pads that you like that was like how she was able to like jump to different time periods.
I thought she just had a time pad.
Oh yeah, man, yeah. I there was like a recap of Loki, but it was like this like weird like remix. Like it was like they basically made it to like a song, so it wasn't really. It was like entertaining, but wasn't really like informative for like what happened in the first season.
Where'd you see this?
It was on like they officially like put out like it was like a Loki remix of like a recap remix. Actually, I put it on the site too. If you go like to like our up to speed section, there's like a Loki season one video, but it's like it does recap things, but it's also just more of like a rap remix song.
I see.
So if you're looking for like in depth information about what happened in Loki season one, probably look for like a different video on YouTube from somebody, and not the official one. But it's I mean it's definitely like so much better than most of the other Marvel stuff that we've gotten this year. I mean, it was Loki and Guardians Volume 3 are probably like the two best things we've gotten from Marvel. The rest of it's been kind of like either mediocre, mediocre with like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then like terrible with Secret Invasion.
Still have not finished it.
God, yeah, Secret Invasion. I don't know what happened. That's gonna be like a we need like a documentary series or something about that. About somebody needs to like investigate what the hell happened with Secret Invasion. I like that they put out. You know how they always put out like the behind the scenes, like the like declassified, where they show like the making of, and
Mm-hmm.
they actually put one out for that. But it's gonna be like this like weird propaganda of like, oh yeah, this is great. Like look how we do all these like great special effects for Secret Invasion. Everyone's having a great time. Like this is such a great entry in the Marvel MCU.
Just lies. The secret invasion is secretly it's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I did this week. Uh, Probably watch a few more movies and hopefully bang out one more review before
Mhm.
I'm busy again. What about you, Zach? What have you been watching?
So I watched a bunch of stuff. So last week was Friday was a October Friday 13th. So a lot of people, like a lot of places, put out spooky stuff to celebrate. Spooky date in a spooky month. So there was a bunch of stuff that dropped last Friday, including season 4 of Creepshow over on Shudder, which I watched all of, and it was good. It was a fun season of Creepshow. It definitely, I mean, if you're already like a fan of like what Creepshow's been doing, it's pretty much like on par. And also like kind of the anthology thing where it's like some of the like stories are not as good as other stories. It's kind of like a mix, like it's like kind of a mixed bag as like all anthology stuff is. But there was some like really great episodes, and or like individual story. 'Cause each episode is like two stories, so like it'll be like either both of them are good or like one of them will be good and one of them will be like just like weird or okay. And it also kind of felt like they were leaning a little bit more into like wacky humor this season. Like a lot of the stuff had like a much more like wacky tone than some of the previous stuff or previous creep shows. I mean, creep shows always had like kind of like a campy humor edge along with like the horror stuff. But this season in particular just had like a lot, like some of it was like really wacky. Like there's some like just like some like just like characters or like stories that were like, wow, this is like going like not even this is not even horror. This is like a wacky comedy or something. But um and also the other thing you get with Creepshow, like even if like the story isn't that good or like just an okay episode, you're guaranteed like some sort of like really awesome like practical monster or practical effects because Greg Greg Nicotero is like the showrunner, so yeah, obviously like also like showrunner on Walking Dead, so like and just like practical special effects legend, so like all sorts of like every episode is some sort of like crazy creature or monster or like crazy gore effects or something. So, I mean, it's worth watching just for that. But most of the episodes are also like really good too, and it's the same tone as like the movie and like the previous seasons. Yeah, like it's a mix of like over the top gore and yeah, like campy kind of like dark humor. And it's also like the closest thing we have right now to like Tales from the Crypt,
I see.
which like we'll like I don't know if we'll ever see that again on a streaming service just because like the rights are like so insane for Tales from the Crypt. But if you want to get that kind of like feel, definitely check out Creepshow if you haven't seen it on Shutter. I think it's also on like AMC Plus if you have that instead of Shutter. But you
Oh,
also get.
speaking of shows like it, did you happen to see the Goosebumps thing that they were doing?
I was just gonna talk about that. I can
I
talk
was
about
like,
it right
I
now,
was
Chris.
wondering.
So yeah, but yeah, Creepshow, it's fun. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen the fourth season yet, or if you haven't seen the whole show, just like head over check that out, Shutter. But yeah, Goosebumps, the new Goosebumps on Disney Plus. They dropped the first 5 episodes last week on October 13th, and then it's gonna be one episode a week for the rest of the season. I think it's gonna be 10 episodes, and I think it's pretty good so far. It's definitely darker than you expect for like a Disney Plus show. Um, like there's like a main villain or like I guess a main antagonist. I guess it seems like we're kind of like leaning toward like maybe we'll find out that like something else is going on. But the main villain so far is like this like high school kid that got burned in his house when he and like and it basically became like a Freddy Krueger kind of character. Like every time he shows up to like the modern day kids because he like this kid died in the 90s, but now it's like it's current day. But every time he shows up, he's like this like horrible burned corpse. So it's like wow, this is like actually pretty like dark for like a Disney Plus original series. I guess it's like a joint Hulu Disney Plus show, so I guess that kind of like is like it's more like Hulu like let's have more of an edge. But yeah, definitely like it's not like it, definitely there's like definitely some more like interesting stuff going on than you would expect from like a Disney Plus thing. And it also has like a pretty interesting kind of structure for like the first, at least for the first couple episodes, where there's like an overarching plot for the whole season, but then each of the first four episodes is also kind of like inspired by a Goosebumps book or a storyline. So it's like the first episode is like setting up all the plot lines for the season, but then also it's Say Cheese or Die, or Say Cheese and Die.
Mhm.
So it's also everything is like kind of like centered around this like Halloween party at this house, like the Biddle House, which is like this like haunted house in this town. I think it's it's like a Pacific Northwest town, Port Lawrence. But yeah, all the main kids are at this Halloween party, and but then there's all these objects at the house that they find. So they find the camera, they find like the haunted mask, they find like the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and so like the first four episodes is like each of the four characters, like one of the characters like is like figuring out like dealing with like this thing that they took from the party or like found at the party, and then it's like an actual like Goosebumps thing. But then it seems like after the fifth episode, now it's gonna be like more of like a kind of like there's like an actual like Stranger Things kind of overarching main plot. There's like this main villain. There's like uh maybe time travel or something happening potentially.
What?
At least there's like they get like a glimpse of like what happened. Like there's like glimpses of the past. They can like actually see the past because like there's like a some sort of like scrapbook that lets them see the past in like the fifth episode.
I see. It's not connected, is it? I thought it was like all vignettes of things.
Well, that's what I was saying. So like there's an it's a season long arc of like this main story, but then each of the episodes within that episode is focused on like a story from like one of the Goosebumps books. So it's like the first episode is Say Cheese or Die. Second episode is The Haunted Mask. The third episode is Cuckoo Like a Doom. Fourth one's Go Eat Worms. And so it's like the storyline, the plot continues in each episode, but then that episode has like its own like kind of standalone plot where like one of the characters has to deal with like one of these like evil objects that came from the house. And then there's a whole thing with like, and the main plot is like, so Justin Long it plays this new teacher that shows up in town, and then I mean this was in the trailer, but he gets possessed by like the kid that died in the house because he moves into like the house that the kid died in, but then he gets like possessed by the ghosts, so like he's now like the like like the possessed like evil like high school kid that died, and then he has like his plan he's trying to like achieve with like all his all his objects, and then I mean they've been teasing it up, but like Slappy's gonna be involved at some point. Like I think literally the episode is up right now on Disney Plus is like episode 6 is Night of the Living Dummy Part 1. So
Yeah, at Comic Con they were promoting it, and it was one of those things where the marketing was kind of weird because it was like, "Oh, are you telling me to stop Comic Con to go home and like watch this right now?"
yeah.
Because like I think the premiere was October 15th.
Well, it was Friday last week, so Friday 13th was
13th,
when the
yeah,
first 5
okay.
episodes dropped.
5 at once is a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it might be 2, but 5, damn. I thought I'm like, oh, is it one a day? And turns out no. Everything.
No, yeah, five, and then one a week for the rest of the season. So like the back half of the last 5 are gonna be one a week. But yeah, I like it so far. Yeah, it definitely seems like it has like kind of like it's maybe inspired by like Stranger Things or that kind of thing, where it's like group of teens in this town, weird stuff's happening. But it also like is like I definitely appreciate that they're like referencing and like getting into like actual like Goosebumps stories and like kind of doing like their own like spins on them. And the cast is pretty fun. Like yeah, Justin Long is like continuing his like reign as like the new like Scream King, like from like Barbarian and Tusk and everything else he's been in. And he does a great like 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 physically he's doing like an awesome performance where like he's like it's like he's like fighting against his own body because like the ghost is like trying to control him, but then he's like fighting against it. So there's a lot of like great like physical comedy from him, just like throwing himself into like walls and like throwing himself on the floor and stuff, trying to like fight this ghost. And then uh like Rob Hubel's like one of the parents, like one of the main kids' parents, who's also he's also like the guidance counselor for the school. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's definitely way better than I thought it would be. Definitely worth checking out if you're on Disney Plus, if you're looking for something spooky to check out. And I'm definitely interested to see like how yeah how Slappy what Slappy's doing on the show and like what else they're gonna do for like the rest of the season. And then also dropping last week was over on Peacock was John Carpenter's Suburban Screams, which is a kind of true crime, I guess horror show. Um, it's definitely in the vein of like unsolved mysteries and stuff like that, where it's each episode is based on a true story about something horrific that happened in like suburban towns or small towns or in the area of small towns. There's like like murder serial killers or some sort of like local legend or like there's like one about this like woman is like has been like stalked on the phone for like 6 years and it's still unsolved. Like she has no idea who this guy is that's stalking her, but she just gets like constantly getting like phone messages. And the kind of the gimmick of it was that there's reenactments, so like like classic kind of like true crime reenactments, but like the gimmick was that they're trying to shoot them as like a more like a horror movie style, so there's like cinematic like a horror movie style,
Uh-huh.
which I don't it didn't really stand out. I like it wasn't that much different than like anything else you've seen as far as like true crime or like reenactment stuff. Like it didn't really feel like, oh, this is like a John Carpenter movie. Even though he directed like the last episode of the season he directed, like John Carpenter so it's like the first thing John Carpenter's directed in like a decade. Like I think the last thing he directed was like that movie The Ward
I forgot that one.
from like 2010, which I think was like an Amber Heard movie. It was like the insane asylum. But yeah, so yeah, John Carpenter hasn't directed anything in 10 years. But so that was like kind of the big deal about the show too. It's like, oh, John Carpenter's finally back directing something.
He's
But I mean,
directing reenactment footage.
yeah, a true crime reenactment of he directs like the Phone Stalker episode, which doesn't really look any different from like the other episodes. All the episodes kind of have the same kind of style. Like it also it reminded a lot of like the TV show Lore on Amazon, based on like the podcast Lore, where it's also kind of like based on true stuff. Had a very similar kind of like style where so they're kind of selling point of like, oh, this is like more like it's true crime, but it's like a horror movie. We're shooting like a horror movie. I didn't really feel like it panned out like that. It just kind of felt like a typical kind of like true crime reenactment, like unsolved mysteries kind of show. It's okay. I mean, if you're into like true crime, if you're into like that kind of stuff, there's some interesting stories in it, so it's worth checking out. Some of them are kind of like weird, where it's like there's one where about like this guy who like lived next door to a house, and then the dad and his family moves in, and the dad is like turns out to be like I don't know if he's actually like murdering people, but he was like doing like really like horrific stuff with like animals in in like the attic,
Oh,
and
God.
then like was about to kill his family because he got found out. But then it kind of just like it just like ends where the guy like telling a story was like, oh yeah, and then like the next 3 days were a blur, so I don't really know what happened. They just moved away. It's like what? Like
Yeah, I feel like that's not a lore thing. That's just like a rumor.
yeah, well, it's like this guy telling a story like is like he claim like he's telling a story and he claims like he almost got killed by this guy that lived next door to him, who was like a dentist that like was like apparently like just like mutilating animals in the attic and like almost went crazy and like tried to kill him and his family. but then it's like he's telling the story. The reenactment is like this guy's like outside their house gonna break in. He's like it seemed like he killed his wife or something too because he's covered in blood, and then it just cuts to like this guy telling the story like, and then I don't know, the police came and then like they moved away and I don't know what happened. Like it's like what is the story? What, that's not an ending to a story. Like what is this guy almost killed you and you don't know what happened?
Yeah, I would follow that up immediately.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened to lore. Like, it just started becoming, like, fibs.
Yeah, so I mean, some of them are weird where it's just like, it kind of just ends on this, like, ambiguous, like, I don't know, ghosts maybe, I don't know. Like,
I thought the thing was, like, it was debunking things. It wasn't supernatural. It was just, like, shitty people.
well, this show is just like, it's like, whoever is like the victim or like the main like person that was involved in like whatever this event was is the one telling the story. So it's like or like people. So like, there's like I think probably the best episode is probably of this Servant Scream show is probably the second episode, which is about this like Canadian serial killer. And it's this the guy people telling the story is like the guy who was like reporting on it for the newspaper. And that one is actually like an actual like story with like an ending where like the guy got like arrested again. So it's like an actual like that, and it's like there's like actual like documented evidence of like this whole story, and it's like so it's like so it's like this is like an actual event that happened. This is like an actual true story. And then but then some of the other episodes are just like, oh yeah, I was like I like helped like a ghost girl like find like solve her murder or something.
Does John Carpenter introduce this, or it's just more like his name is slapped onto it?
He recorded like a voiceover for like the intro, and then he directed the sixth episode, and that's like his involvement, I think.
Wow.
So yeah, I would not go in expecting like top tier John Carpenter. Like this is not like the like a return to form for John Carpenter. Like if you're we're not back to like Halloween or The Thing or anything, but it's a perfectly cromulent like true crime show if you just want like some like kind of leaning more toward horror-esque true crime stuff. And you have Peacock. It's fine. I think like the new like Unsolved Mystery on Netflix is definitely better than this. But this is okay. And yeah, that's pretty much what I watched. I just somehow crammed all three of those everything available for those three shows since last podcast.
It's a lot.
Creepshow 6 episodes, Suburban Streams 6 episodes. I watched all 5 episodes of the Goosebumps show, along with like everything else I normally watch. So tons of TV over the last week or so. But yeah, I think that'll do it for this week's episode. Definitely head over to the site. We've got all of our usual stuff up there. We got trailers, news, reviews, all sorts of stuff. You can head over and check out our commentary from last month, which was we had a special Chris birthday commentary, which is Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. So you can still listen to that. That's up there. And we also watched Saw 2 as well. And we're gonna be, I think we're gonna be watching Child's Play to celebrate October and spooky Halloween time, because it's a big Chucky month. Chucky's been like all over the place recently. He's got his TV show. He's got Halloween Horror Nights mazes. He's got it's dual anniversaries for movies. So we're gonna celebrate all things Chucky for this month for the commentaries. Come back in probably, I think next week, actually. Come back and check that out.
Yeah.
And then all of our other usual features up, down, and site. Well, head over and check all that stuff out. And yeah, so for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.